never say that the talent of Ginebra was in full display today, coming back from 18 points down. What did you see from your players, and what did it take to snatch this game on victory?
Well, we saw that Ginebra was getting treatment on the sidelines, so we took advantage of the times that he was absent on the floor to get back in the game. When he's on the floor, it's just really, really tough. And the good news is we just battled tonight. We didn't play great. We didn't shoot great. We didn't even really defend that great. But we haven't played here in Mall of Asia for quite a while, so it was a little difficult for us in terms of getting a feel for the rims. We didn't have a chance to practice or shoot here. So, but the bottom line is we found a way, but it's only one game, and we got to be playing better than this as the series goes for us to have a chance. But it's nice to always to get the lead in the series.
Thank you, Coach. Scottie, nakita namin, nasaktan yung elbow mo, and then towards the end of the fourth, you hit your head as well. Sabi ng coach, you need to get treatment. But you refuse to bench, ituloy yung laro. Gano'ng importante para sa'yo to get this game on victory?
First and foremost, all glory to God sa panalo nito. And we know playoffs, very tough game, but kung ano lang talagang kaya namin, binibigay namin best namin. But, it's part of the game, no? It's playoff time, so the physicality is there. We have to battle through it, and we have to be tough every single possession.
We now start with the questions for Scottie from the press.
I can just say one question for Scottie, let him go. Whoever wants to go. Happy?
Scottie, ano pa? Concern ba yan going to game 2?
No, it's just cramping lang.
Any more questions for Scottie?
One more question for Scottie if you want it.
Scottie, sa game 2, siyempre, ayun mga taon ng 18, how to make sure na at least hindi kayo umabot sa ganung sitwasyon?
I think from the start of the ball game, we have to be mindful, especially on defensive end. So I think yung defense namin, yung dahilan bakit kami nakastay sa game. Yun lang.
Thank you, Scottie.
Hey, Coach.
Now ready for the questions for Coach Nick.
Thank you, guys.
Coach, Coach, over here.
Okay.
Coach, that final defensive play when I think Jacket that blocked Ginebra, also their story on the defensive, was that an anticipation? Did you anticipate that?
Well, we didn't exactly execute our defense the way we were supposed to. We were trying to make sure Ginebra didn't catch the ball in the paint or at the post. But I think they kind of panicked a little bit because the shot clock was going. I mean, the count, the out of bounds count was going down, and so I think our guys started to get excited about that, and they kind of lost their discipline in terms of really denying that post up. We were supposed to sag back on that post and not allow it in. But as the time went down, we started stepping out and denying, and that's what allowed that pass to go in. But Jaffa did a good job of challenging that shot, and luckily for us, it rolled out, and we were able to secure the rebound. And then, of course, Jamie misses the 2 free throws, and then Troy makes that great hustle play that knocked the ball off of CJ, and then that gave us another chance. But it just we were upset at ourselves at halftime because we just felt we didn't play the game the way we wanted to play it. I was sitting there during the game saying, my gosh, we're holding them to 65 points, we're holding them to 70 points, and we still can't beat this team. That was really the game plan, really to try to hold them down as much as we could, but they were still, even though we were doing that, they were still dominating us. So, we did a Herculean effort tonight on defense, just trying to hold them down. But our offense couldn't keep pace. But hopefully we start smoothing things out. But we just can't fall into playing their game. And I thought we played their game tonight. We need to play a little bit more disciplined. We were better much better in the second half, I have to admit. And it doesn't hurt that Ginebra was on and off the floor with his, looked like a calf issue. So that helped us out a little bit, staying in the game and able to overcome it.
But you gave minutes to Raymond Aguilar, Pinto, Jonathan Ray, Ramos. How crucial were they when you were trying to catch up, and will this be indication you do that for the rest of the series?
Well, you know, it was a special reasons for that, and basically it's because Japhet got into early foul trouble. He got 2 fouls in the first minute and a half of the game, and then got another foul in the second quarter, and then another foul in the third. They gave him 4 fouls. So, you know, we had planned defenses for when Raymond and Ben and Troy had to guard Ginebra. We didn't execute them as well as we could. We hope that we can get better at that as the series goes along, as we get more practice on it. But you know, they stepped up, especially Raymond. I mean, Raymond not only did some things defensively, put a big body on. One thing about Raymond, he is man strong. I mean, he looks strong, but he's 10 times stronger than he looks. He is man strong, and despite giving up, you know, 40, 50 pounds to Ginebra in a few inches, he can hold his ground against Ginebra, because he's just man strong. And but he did more than that. He helped us offensively. He moved the ball, he hit some shots, got to the rim a couple of times, made some rebounds. He was definitely our best player off the bench.
Coach, could you discuss Scottie's offensive line, because past few games he has been off, he's been struggling.
I wouldn't call it struggle. You know, he's the kind of guy that you kind of have to beg to shoot. And so if he's not scoring, it's not that he's struggling. He's just trying hard to keep his teammates involved and not looking for himself. And we have to constantly remind him to shoot the ball. And it's the same thing with, you know, he has that point guard mentality. And the same thing with RJ. You know, we beg RJ to shoot. Tonight he had a really tough shooting night. And he's getting better at being aggressive and looking for shots. But he had a tough shooting night tonight. I don't think you'll see another game like that the rest of the series for RJ. RJ is going to knock down shots. He's going to be a huge part of our offense. That was kind of our missing link tonight, was RJ not hitting open shots. Steve finally hit a big 3, but he also was not hitting shots. So, you know, those are our 2 best shooters in the team. If they're not hitting shots, you know, they are Pogoy and Oftana. So if they're not shooting shots, we're going to have a struggle that night. And then the good news is that we relied on our defense. But I don't see that as, I never see, if Scottie isn't scoring, it's not because he's struggling. He's doing everything else. So I never see Scottie as a struggle. He just needs to be, we have to keep continually remind him to be aggressive and look for a shot. And he gets a little shy. If he misses 1 or 2, he gets a little shy. But he's still doing his rebounding, he's still doing his assisting, he's still doing his defense. That doesn't mean he's struggling.
Coach, would you try to make it a low-scoring game the entire series?
Well, that's, you know, I mean, San Miguel averages 108 points a game, and they're by far #1 in the league. I think Rain of Shine's the only team that's close to them, up there #1. And we average, what, about 94 points a game? Or 98 maybe? 94, I think. And so if we're scoring our normal 94 and they're scoring their normal 108, we're going to get beat every night. So yeah, we have to keep the score down. It's got to be, we think that's to our favor. And we're used to playing more low-scoring games. So I think that's, yeah, one of the obvious game plans that we have out there, that we've got to keep the score down. We're much more defensive oriented than they are. They're much more offensive oriented. So if we can get into a defensive battle, that goes to our favor.
That wraps up our post-game press conference. Thank you, Coach Tim, for your time.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.